Hi everyone, thanks so much for watching. In today's video, I am gonna go over the keto diet that I follow. I did take pictures of all the dinners that I had this week to give you an idea, and I do have snacks and stuff I'm gonna go over too. So I will put timestamps down below where I actually go through what I ate this week, because I did keep track of all the things I ate in a week. I took photos of all my dinners and stuff like that. So I'll put timestamps down below, but to start with, I'm just gonna go through briefly what the keto diet is, why I do it, how long I've been doing it for, some of those things first, just to give you a bit of background. I'm not gonna go really into depth with it. There's lots of channels out there on YouTube where they go in depth in the keto diet, people who have more knowledge on this subject than me. I will link a couple down below that I really like. I like Keto Connect. I just enjoy their personalities. I think they're amazing. Matt and Mega, I think is their names. And then Dr. Berg is another doctor that has a ton of information and a ton of videos just on all subjects. And then Dr. Ken Berry as well. Now, I don't agree with everything that all of them say all of the time, but I do think they're a great place to start if this is something you're interested in. So people hold diet very near and dear to their heart. So this video is not meant to be pushy or in your face, none of that. If you are eating a vegan diet or a traditional North American diet and that works for you and you feel healthy, you know, that's amazing. I think that diet is a very, very personal subject. I'm not here to offend anybody. So if you are easily offended by this topic, please don't watch. If you're offended by somebody eating animal products, please don't watch. I do eat animal products. Yeah, so again, this is what works for me. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian. This is what works for me. And I know that, you know, next to religion and politics, diet is probably the thing that people hold closest to their heart. I have lots of people who, I've been doing this for 3.5 years approximately. So definitely I've had conversations with people, and I don't bring it up all the time. It's not the reigning theme in my life like it is for some people, but when people ask or, you know, have questions about it and I open up about it, I have on occasion people get very heated. So yeah, you know, it's not that serious for me. I don't hold it that near and dear. It's just what works for me. So that's why I do it. I don't think this is going to cure every problem every person has ever had. You know, it's not going to solve world peace or anything like that. But I do feel better when I eat this way. And so that's why I do it. So I grew up in the 80s where it was all about low fat. Low fat this, low fat that. And that was the diet culture. Lots of aerobic exercises and lots of low fat foods. So when I first started the keto diet, that first morning when I put heavy cream and butter and coconut oil in my coffee, I thought I'm gonna weigh 200 pounds by the end of the month. So anyways, yeah, this was not about weight loss for me. I should just clarify that right out of the gate. When I started the keto diet, I was probably about 120 pounds, and I did lose weight to start with. I went down to, I think, about 110. I'm not real sure on the numbers because I didn't track it that closely. And then so that was initially when I went on the keto diet. And then since then, I've probably gained, I sit between 110 and 115 pounds, and that's a comfortable weight for me. I think if I wanted, like, I would love to have more muscle and be stronger, not necessarily lose weight, but just have my body be more muscle. But I recognize that that would require exercise and probably some weightlifting, and I'm super lazy, so I don't. It's always my goal, but I just have to be honest. I don't exercise. So what is the keto diet? So it is a low carb, high fat diet. And so I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there on what it is. I think people think it's a lot of eggs and bacon and butter, and it is those things. I certainly do eat those things, but I do also eat tons of vegetables. I eat tons of vegetables. Vegetables are predominantly what I have at dinner time, not potatoes. mostly green vegetables, but I do eat a lot of vegetables. Things I don't eat are pretty much anything that you get in those center aisles of the grocery store. I don't eat them. Breads, pastas, rice, grains of any sorts, beans of any sorts. If it's a convenience food, I really don't eat it. If it's something that my husband always says, if it's something you can eat one-handed while driving, we probably don't eat it, right? The foods I eat are homemade foods. If I have desserts, it's desserts I make at home typically. There are lots of keto options. I feel like more and more all the time. But I do try not to really eat those keto convenience foods. I do sometimes have snacks. There are some websites that I order from when we want a treat, to get, chocolates and things like that. Costco actually has quite a few keto treats available, but for the most part, we stick to whole foods. And when we're at the grocery store, we stick to the outsides. We don't do a lot on the inside. So when I first started, so how I started this was, so I have an autoimmune disease and mine is intestinal in nature. I've had it for about 20 years. For a lot of that time, I was on medication for it. It's not a life-threatening autoimmune disease, but it is something that makes me very sick. And so there have been times when I've been sicker than others. I have tried over that 20-year period lots of different diets to try to control it. For me, my autoimmune disease is impacted very much by what I eat. And so when I don't feel good, I feel like I have the flu. That is the symptoms that I have. As well as other things that I will spare the internet the details of. But how I started with keto was my husband, who also has an autoimmune disease. If you're not familiar with autoimmune diseases, they range, and millions of people are affected with them. So you can look into autoimmune diseases on your own. My husband has one that is blood in nature. His is more serious than mine, and his is more impactful than mine. So how we started was he had read about intermittent fasting, which is how this journey all started for us. And so that's how he started. He started intermittent fasting, which all intermittent fasting is eating in a window of time in the day. Some people will eat in a 5-hour window. Some people will eat in an 8-hour window. Some people eat in a 12-hour window. That just means that for, like, say you're eating in a 12-hour window, you would eat from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. as an example. Maybe it's 8 and 8, 10 and 10, whatever you want. And then the rest of the time you don't eat anything, or you don't drink anything that would break a fast. So pretty much just water or plain coffee or tea. So he started intermittent fasting, and then that just sort of naturally led to him going on a keto diet. I had never heard of keto prior to him mentioning it. And again, this was, 3.5, 4 years ago. So I don't think it was as popular as it is today. I feel like you hear about it all the time now. It's just more popular. So he started intermittent fasting and then gradually transitioned into a keto diet. And I think on a keto diet, because you're eating high-fat foods, you feel satiated for longer, so you don't eat as often. That just sort of naturally happens with this diet. And so whether you're intermittent fasting on purpose or not, it sort of lends itself to that. So I certainly don't eat 3 meals a day plus snacks. I eat 1 meal a day typically on the weekends, which I know people are just going to freak out about. And then on a work week, I eat a lunch and a dinner. So anyway, so he started intermittent fasting, led to the keto diet. He actually lost 50 pounds and just felt so amazing. And so watching him lose the weight and feel better, that's what I thought, okay, well, I'll try it, right? And again, I've tried lots of diets over the years to try to control the symptoms from my autoimmune disease. I have done vegan, I've done vegetarian, I've done low fat, high carb, I've done an all fruit diet, I did a fruit juice cleanse. Honestly, I've tried all sorts of things that people, that works for some people. It didn't work for me. None of those worked for me. I didn't feel great on any of them, so I didn't continue with them. So like I said, I did some research on the keto diet. and got some information from my husband. I watched lots of videos on how to, and when I first started doing it, I did track my macros. So there's lots of websites, lots of apps you can get on your phone. I used the app Lose It. That was the easiest one for me. And what you do is I would actually weigh and measure my food. So I went online and I found a macro calculator, and I figured out the ideal macros for me in a day based on my height, my weight, my activity level. So regardless of where you are in that range, the ideal macros of carbs for a day are less than 20. Having said that, I do still consider myself on a keto diet, even though I don't track, and I'm sure there's lots of days my macros are slightly higher than that because, again, like I said, I eat lots of veggies, lots of green veggies, and lots of avocado, and those things do have carbs in them. So I don't eat just all fats. I do try to eat a healthy keto diet, is how I like to put it. So again, less than 20 carbs a day, about 50 grams of protein, and about 100 grams of fat. For me, for my body, that's what works. For the first couple of years, I did track my macros very, very closely and keep track of that. Since then, I don't. It's a lot of work to track your macros. So now that I just go more on how my body feels. If I'm feeling good and I'm eating what I consider to be healthy foods, I don't track. And that works for me. So for me, I have been off meds since I started this diet. And prior to that, I had been on meds for a long time. And the meds, so I see a specialist, I see a gastroenterologist who just pretty much said to me, meds are kind of for life for you. And so I still see him. He is fully on board with what I'm doing, just to let everybody know. Also my family doctor that I see regularly, and I get physicals and checkups, and I get blood work done. And both of those physicians are fully on board with me doing this and have no concern. So I should just say that. However, you should definitely check with your family doctor or any specialist you're seeing, because this is not the case. This is not the diet for everyone in every situation. And like I said, I have no illusions that this would work like this for everyone. Okay, so what I eat in a day. So breakfast is always the same for me. I'll put in a little clip of me making my morning coffee. When I first started, I would do the bulletproof coffee. And so I would do a coffee in the morning with a tablespoon of heavy cream, a tablespoon of butter, and a tablespoon of coconut oil. And I did that for the first couple of years, actually. And yeah, you know what? If you've never had a coffee with fats in it like that, well, it's delicious. First of all, it's like a super creamy dessert treat, and I would blend it. But since then, again, just probably out of laziness more than anything, what I do now for my morning coffee is I do a scoop of collagen, because in the last couple of years I've added collagen into my diet. And I do the Vital Proteins bovine collagen because I have a seafood allergy. I don't do a marine collagen, although I've heard lots of people say that one's even better, and I would love to try it. I can't. So I do the bovine collagen. And then I do 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. And that's my morning coffee. And then I take a coffee with me to go to work, where I put 2 more tablespoons of heavy cream. I try to do, those 2 coffees a day. I could easily drink 8 cups of coffees a day. I love coffee. I could drink coffee all day. I try to just do those 2 coffees. I do the morning one, and then one that I sip throughout the day, the morning at work. And then sometimes in the evening, I'll have a decaf coffee. On the weekends, which I'm filming now, I'm in Canada, so of course I have a Tim's. I have a steep tea. They have half and half, and sometimes I'll treat myself to a little sweetener in there. I certainly don't have sweetener every day. I don't drink Diet Pops every day. Again, I try to do a healthy, whole foods keto diet is sort of my goal every day. I don't always succeed, but that's the goal. So that's breakfast. Lunch for me on a work day is leftovers from the dinner before. So pretty, kind of boring actually. I always take just whatever we've had for dinner the night before. I take it for leftovers the next day. I just went and grabbed these out of the fridge. So I get these at Costco. If I don't, so sometimes we don't have leftovers, or Sometimes I just don't feel like the leftovers. So these are cheese wraps. And again, I get them at Costco. They're these Parmesan cheese wraps, 13 grams of protein, 1 carb. Yeah, actually they have 1 carb and 1 fiber. So if you know about keto, you know that you subtract your fiber from your daily carb count. So these are actually 0 net carbs. And these are delicious. And so I'll just put some lunch meat, some lettuce, some mayo, mustard, and I'll take a couple of these for my lunches if I'm not interested in taking what we've had for dinner, or, you know, we have a grown son who lives at home, so sometimes there are no leftovers. So that's pretty standard for me. Again, on the weekends, I typically just eat 1 meal, 1 big meal, like it's a big meal. And yeah, but on days when I work, I get up at 5. So by 12, I'm hungry. And then I'll eat again dinner, usually 5:30 at home. But on the weekends, I usually just have 1 meal, maybe 1 meal and a snack if I'm feeling hungry. And I usually eat an early dinner on the weekends, like 3:30, 4, somewhere in there. You know, all days are different for me. Sometimes I have 2 big meals on a weekend if I'm feeling hungry. I just try to listen to my body, and I eat when I'm hungry, and I try not to eat out of boredom. I mean, sometimes I do though, right? Like sometimes I'm just feeling like it's a cold, dreary day. I want to lay in bed. I want to watch movies all day, and I want to eat popcorn. And so I do. I do on those days, right? I've been doing this a long time, so it's not like I've never in 3.5 years had a piece of bread. I have. You know, sometimes you just need a piece of bread. The other weekend, we had grilled cheese. You know, it was what it was. We were craving it. We wanted it. There was a food truck that was making grilled cheese in our area. So I don't stress about it. I'm not crazy strict with it. I try to eat keto the majority of the time so that if I'm out and people are having birthday cake, I have birthday cake. You know what I mean? Like I'm not so rigid that I never have these things. I just don't have those things every day on the norm. Okay, so that's breakfast and lunch. Now dinner. I am going to bring in some photos of what I had for dinner this week. Let me pull them up so I can go through them. So I should say before I get into those photos of what I ate this week that we do bring in HelloFresh. That's a meal delivery service. They're like meal kits. We do that for 3 of our meals during the work week. I love HelloFresh. I love that service. In Canada, it costs us about $130 for those 3 meals, and there's 3 adults in our house, and sometimes we have leftovers, but sometimes we don't. And we do the low carb ones typically, although my son doesn't necessarily eat low carb with us, so I'll either make a side of rice for him, or sometimes the HelloFresh come with, you know, mashed potatoes. We wouldn't eat those, but he'll eat them, so things like that. The first meal I did on Monday night, we had a breakfast for dinner. We love to do that. We do that all the time. We've done that always. For as long as I can remember, my boys love to have a breakfast dinner. And so I did these little egg cups where I just did like a crustless quiche sort of an idea. I whipped together some eggs, heavy cream, some some onion and peppers and tomatoes and some cheese, salt and pepper. I think I threw some of that everything but the bagel seasoning in there, and I baked them, and they were delicious. And then of course we had some bacon with that. And then from Birch Benders, they make a keto pancake waffle mix. And so we had that, and on top of mine, I put some sugar-free jam. Delicious. So we had that for dinner, and I did take that the next day for my lunch. So then on Tuesday, it was one of our HelloFresh meals. It was this soy maple glazed chicken, and it came with this butter garlic rice. So you'll see on the plate there, I had a spoonful of that because it just looked so delicious. So that's what I'm saying, like that spoonful of rice is nothing. It's not going to kick me out of ketosis, but I wanted to enjoy a spoonful, so I did. Also, I have on that plate some olives. They're spicy black olives that we bought. There is some bok choy, some roasted mushrooms, a cabbage salad, and then a pickled carrot and celery mix on there. And then again, I did take that the next day for lunch. On Wednesday, we had stuffed meatballs with olives. That was another HelloFresh meal that we picked. And it came with I think it was like a spinach kale mix. I have half an avocado, I have some roasted veggies, and that same celery carrot pickled salad mix. Delicious. Oh, and then for dessert, I had some sliced strawberries with a little bit of heavy cream and a little sprinkling of sweetener. That's one of my go-to desserts is mixed berries. I typically don't eat a lot of fruit. Fruit's very high in sugar, which sugar equals carbs, right? So I don't really eat a lot of fruit. However, if I want fruit, what we'll have is berries. So I had some berries. The next night for dinner, what's that? Thursday night for dinner, we had some pork chops and some kale salad and some Brussels sprouts. Delicious. I took it the next day for lunch. And then yesterday, Friday nights typically we order in, and I ordered myself in some chicken tenders, which sure, probably not keto, but I was feeling chicken tenders, so I ordered those in, and I had those with a Caesar salad and a Diet Coke. So I don't typically drink Diet Coke or Coke Zero. It is, if I'm craving something sweet, I will have a Diet Pop. But I certainly don't have Diet Pop every single day. I don't have sweetener every single day. It is once a week type of thing. Depends how I'm feeling. You know, some days I'm craving it 2-3 days in a row. Maybe then I go a couple weeks. Just depends how I'm feeling. So last night I was craving a chicken finger and Diet Pop, and so that's what I had. And it was delicious, no regrets. So some of the snacks that we eat, and this is not a comprehensive list of the snacks, these are just some of my favorites that I happen to have on hand. Probably these are pork rinds. So I love pork rinds. It's funny because I know a lot of people have never had a pork rind, but my dad used to get pork rinds all the time. He'd get those old Dutch ones back when I was growing up. So I had pork rinds and I knew already I loved them. These happen to be my favorite. These are the 4505 chicharrones. I don't know how to say that. Fried pork rinds. Oh, this is chili and salt. Oh my goodness. If you live in the US, I think you can get these at Costco. We can't here in Canada, but my boss's wife was sweet enough to, she actually was able to go down to the US and she brought me this back. Oh my goodness. I'm savoring them. There's hardly any left in there and I'm trying to savor them. So these are really good, but we do eat pork rinds. My favorite is to do a cheese sauce, like a queso sauce with salsa and pork rinds. I feel like I'm eating chips and dip. So I do love pork rinds and I do eat them, you know, certainly not every week, but every couple of weeks. If I just want to watch a movie with some chips and dip, that's what I do. Another one of my favorite things to dip, and I get these at Costco, these are Wisps. They're just all cheese, so there's really no carbs in them. 1 gram of carb for 30 grams, so really almost nothing. This is my favorite flavor, is this Asiago pepper jack, but they come in lots of flavors and they're pretty affordable. And again, I like to dip these or top them with, you know, meats and cheese and pickles. It's delicious. It's like a cracker. If I'm craving something sweet, I will do, I'll do these Smart Sweets. You can get these at Costco. You can get them everywhere. They're super popular. This is a new flavor. This is sour melon bites. I'm excited. I've never tried those. I'm excited for them. I love these two though. This is the peach rings. Those are delicious. And these are the Sour Blast Buddies. Again, I'm not eating these every day, but sometimes you just are craving candy, and so that's what I'll have. If I'm craving chocolate, I'll try to find some pictures of some of the chocolates we like. I don't have any here right now. We're actually going to Costco after I film this video. Costco carries lots of different ones. I'll try to insert some pictures of some of my favorite keto chocolate treats. There's quite a few. And then I typically try not to do a lot of bars because they're full of so many ingredients. Like, the ingredient list on this is so long, and you know, I can't even read it because I can't read that. It's too small. So I try not to do a lot of bars. However, sometimes if we're out and about and you know, we don't want to go eat, like we can't just grab McDonald's, right? Which is what I want to do, but I don't. So if I've got a bar in my purse, I'll have that. These ones are our favorite. These are the carb killers. Grenade carb killer. High protein, low sugar bar, 20 grams of protein, 2 grams of sugar. These are our favorite. These are so tasty. This is like a candy bar to me. This is the salted peanut. I really like that one. Honestly, any of their flavors are amazing. Susie Good Fats. Again, you get them at Costco. I have tried lots of those over the years. They've got one that's like an Oreo cookie one. Oh my goodness, it's delicious. I just don't have any right now. I try not to keep that stuff in the house all the time. But another one I love that I get from Costco is this Hungry Buddha. This is the chocolate chip flavor. It comes in multiple flavors. Those are delicious too. 9 protein, has MCT oil in it, 2 grams of sugar. So again, I try not to make that the norm. The norm for me is a protein and veggies, but sometimes, you know, sometimes I'm out and about, or I'm just feeling lazy, or I just feel like a bar. So that's when I'll eat those. So I will say that I've had lots of people in my life over the 3.5, 4 years we've been doing this, interested in keto and wanting to try it for themselves. And they just get overwhelmed. Keep it simple. You know, don't overwhelm yourself with it. It really is very simple. You're gonna eat fats. You're gonna eat probably animal fats. I don't know. I have a girlfriend who's vegan. We've talked about it lots. I don't know enough to know how you would do that if you were on a plant-based diet. I feel like it would be hard. A lot of the fats I eat are animal fats. And a big part of my meals is the protein, which for me is an animal protein. But if you're gonna try it, just keep it simple. Don't beat yourself up. If you're out and you have some dessert, just the next day, do your best, right? See how you feel on this. This definitely for me, because eating a keto diet is anti-inflammatory, it just is. You're not eating a lot of the foods that cause inflammation in our body, and inflammation is what exacerbates my autoimmune disease. So that's why this works for me. It just doesn't inflame my digestive system. So I don't get bloating. I don't get indigestion. I don't get some of those other gross symptoms that I'm not going to talk about on the internet. So for me, this works. You know, I think it doesn't hurt to try these things as long as for you it's safe to do that. You don't have to commit for your whole life. Try it for a week or two. See if you feel better. If you do, great. If you don't, well, then you don't, and just try something else, right? This isn't going to be for everyone. I will say the first week on keto can be tough, right? I definitely had the keto flu. I was pretty sick that first week. I got a keto rash that was horrendous, and it lasted for months. So there are side effects. This is not just cutting out a little bit of carbs and seeing how it goes. This is cutting out all carbs. And if you eat a high carb diet for most of your life, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that when you cut out carbs. Your whole body runs on a different source of energy. My body doesn't run on sugar, my body runs on fat. And that happens at a cellular level. So to think that you won't feel that difference, you will. You'll feel that difference. It feels different to be in a ketosis state than it does when your body runs on sugars. So do your research, look into it. I just wanted to share this because this has worked for me. Maybe if I do a video and it works for one person and one person feels better, amazing. You know, amazing. If you eat a vegan diet and you feel great, that's amazing. If you eat a high carb diet, amazing. If you eat a standard North American diet and you know you're tall and skinny and you can eat whatever you want, well, we all hate you. That's the truth. But that's amazing for you. I'm happy for you. Whatever works for you, amazing. So thanks so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful to some people. I hope it wasn't offensive to anyone. I'm just here to share what I do and what works for me. So I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you enjoyed the video, if you would give it a thumbs up, that would be amazing. And if you would subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.